Being absolutely beautiful every time. It's your host, Wee Venus, on the Mothership. So I wanted to talk more about the relationships that are reflecting where you are positioning yourself within yourself. So the reason why you're having a lot of issues with your relationships and you feel like you have to manage other people in order for you to have a space in their world is because there's a wound that you are not aware of yet that we're gonna dive deeper into in this video. And this wound is um, inspiring the energy that you're meeting these people from. So when you find yourself that you're at work and your boss is not treating you with respect, you feel like you always have to tiptoe around your boss, you feel like you have to please your boss, but your boss is not giving you the time and energy. And there's this deep desire to be seen, to be for your gifts and for your talent and for who you really are to be seen. But they're not showing it, they're not validating this aspect of yourself. And the same thing is happening in your love relationships, the same is happening in your friendships. And it's almost like even when people bring up their stuff, right? People bring up their who are very assertive, you find them very confrontational, you find them scary to be around because you don't have you yourself don't have a sense of self. You don't have a strong backbone yet. And we're going to be working on that so that by the end of this video, you have some tools to actually work on so that we can transmute this so you can catch up to your dream self. So, usually, what happens when you find yourself consistently walking on eggshells around your friends about constantly prioritizing other people's needs over your own, finding your sense of self, finding your value and worth and what you do for others, it is because somewhere along the line, through your parents, through school, you internalized the belief that you were only good enough when you did things for other people. So that's when you were only validated. That's when you were poured into, when you acted the way other people wanted you to act around them. So it was never about being unconditional love. Like it wasn't consistent. It wasn't, hey, they didn't pour into you the way they would, for in a healthy way because they didn't have the capacity or they were not conscious of it. So that might look like your mom overly criticizing you all the time, no matter what you do. It was always, it was because she didn't know how to communicate how to regulate her own emotions. She didn't know how to nurture her inner Garden of Eden. She didn't have a Garden of Eden. So everything that was going inside you became a victim of it naturally. So you learned to take care of this caregivers to ensure your own safety. And this is the wound now that you're unconsciously creating your life from. And this is why you feel like, man, like life is so much harder. Why is it easier for other people to be validated, to have a sense of self where they don't have to do more, right? This is what's missing. It's because you guys have different woundings. We're all traumatized. It just looks different, right? So it's great now that you're aware, like, okay, this is what I want. You want more ease. You want to be validated for just existing. You want to make more empowered choices that are in alignment with your desires and goals, where you're not feeling guilty and shame for prioritizing yourself. So you want to really, step one is to really identify what happened to you, because we want to validate this inner child that is creating the life from survival mode. Because right now, the life that you're waking up to, it doesn't feel great. It feels like it's shaky. It's anxiety filled. It's because you're creating from survival, right? And we want to create life from thriving. So to pivot from survival, we have to look at what wound are you creating from? What happened to you? We have to validate this experience. What was the pattern? Maybe it was a one-time situation. or it was a recurring thing that you grew up in, identify what dynamic that you're playing out through your lover, through your friendships, through your boss. And this could be through one relationship from your childhood, or it could be through different relationships. But you want to really pay attention to these inner relationships. I call them inner relationships because these are the relationships that we keep feeding to the point where they become us. So your inner relationships are setting the tone for your external relationships. And these inner relationships come with you no matter where you go in life. And this is why you want to be really honest and authentic with every single experience that you have with everybody. We're not creating from ego here. Ego is that persona we create to protect ourselves, to prevent other people from seeing that we're vulnerable, that we were hurt, because we want to come across a certain way. We don't do that over here because we create from wholeness, we create from truth, because that's where we actually win more. Because creating from that, from the shielding, from the protecting thing, yes, there's a time to protect yourself from predators, from situations where you have to you're really in survival mode. There's something actually truly happening outside of you where you can't really prioritize your own needs. You have to take care of what needs to be taken care of because survival, right? There's actually a tiger outside, there's actually a hurricane going on. But right now, in this era that we're in, it's the most prosperous era that humanity has ever been in. So we have the privilege, like through internet, we have so many resources we have access to actually help us and support us to thrive regardless. But all the information that's out there is not going to work for you because you have specific emotional coding that your conditioning put into you, that your conditioning programmed into you. So you want to actually really clarify what your needs are, what your soul needs are, not your ego's needs. Your ego's needs are you wanting external validation. That will be the cherry on top. That will be like, it'll be the exquisite. This is what will make life exquisite. But we have to create a baseline so that you can actually hold that as a normal way of being, of existing. So it's not something that happens once in a blue moon. So that it's not something that fills a void within you. It's like a garnish. It's like, like when you put scents, right? Well, you put deo because, yeah, you don't want to be stinky. But when you put your scents, it's like it's garnish. You're garnishing, you're ravishing yourself. You want to smell good. You put your earrings, you're decorating your being, you're adoring yourself, you're adorning yourself, right? You put nail polish, you wear your nice clothes. It's the same signature, it's the same resonance. So you really want to pay attention to the emotional coding that's keeping you in the stagnant loop, because that's what's preventing you from taking control of your life. You're creating life from this wounded part of you. And when you become aware of that, the inner relationships that are influencing your external relationships, now you can start to confidently pivot from them, because you do not want to create from the wounding. You actually want to, instead of putting your energy into these external relationships, you want to use the external relationships as mirror to within yourself, to see where to become enlightened within yourself, so you can actually become aware of like, oh, okay, this is what's triggering this. I feel unsafe. So for me to feel safer, I gotta do this, I gotta say this, right? You almost like your soul puts on this persona that's inauthentic. You're not self, right? That separates you from your autonomy. You really don't want to do it, but you're doing it because you want to please other people, because you don't want to confront people. You don't really want to say what you really want to say, because you've been programmed that when you say what you want to say, you're going to be met with hostility. Your truth is unsafe, right? So you really want to hold space for this truth. Whatever negative emotion that comes up, you want to hold space. So if you watched my previous video, I created a video last night, I spoke about becoming your safest safe space, right? You want to you want to create an inner oasis within yourself. But your woundings, your subconscious woundings, the parts of you, of your programming that are in the darkness, because they're automating your actions, they're automating the way you perceive life, they're automating how you operate and engage with relationships, they're in the darkness, right? You want to bring light to those parts so that you can recode them, so that you rewire how you interact and perceive relationships, how you rewire how you perceive yourself. And once you hold this standard, once you create this energetic standard, it's impossible for people to come to you sideways, because you're not available for that kind of treatment from yourself, because you treat yourself better than that. So when they come to you with disrespect, it's almost as if they're disrespecting themselves, because you're not doing that to yourself. So you will notice that you become even more aware of the fact that, oh, when people act like this, it's all about them. It's all about their programming. It's not about me, because you're taking care of your own energy. You're not immersing into other people. You're individualizing your energy and taking responsibility for what's going on within, and creating balance within yourself. And those people who are not on that level, on that standard you're creating for yourself and for the quality of life and experiences you want for yourself, they bounce out. They might have an issue with you. They might try to bully you and to make it unsafe and make you feel bad for choosing you and prioritizing you. But it has nothing to do with you. It's all about holding the standard, the quality of life you want for yourself, and inviting others to meet you there. And if they're not willing, you're not willing to go lower, right? So it's about practicing holding your backbone, your God. I call it the God-given throne, because it's about really being stern, finding your center and being stern. And it takes a lot of work, right? Step 2 is the consistency part. Consistently doing this, seeing what is being reflected back to you, right? So this is the inner work, right? Allowing those relationships to continuously point you, to trigger you, right? Not to trigger to the point where you become disempowered. No, you're holding space for your human, really understanding your human, understanding like, okay, what is really going on? Adapting emotional intelligence. Instead of being a victim to your emotions, bringing awareness, sacred awareness, into your heart space. So instead of operating from here, you're operating from here. And allowing your heart to communicate to you through your gut, right? So it's gut over mind first, before mind over matter, right? So when we're transforming and evolving our self-concept, our perception of ourselves, a lot of us we're taught to think differently first, so that your embodiment changes, right? So that your mind makes it easier for you to take empowered choices that are in alignment with this version of you who lives and creates and attracts your desires and goals on the norm. But what I would do and think and the work I would do is different from you, because you have a different emotional coding. You have a different inner world right now. So it's gut over mind first, because you want to really tap into your intuition, into your spirit, into your soul, because your soul will enlighten you on the best path. No one knows you better than your soul, right? And for you to hear your soul better, you want to really be aware of what is conditioning and what is true. Truth is very consistent with there's no personality, there's no limitation, yes, truth hurts, but it always brings you back to wholeness. It always brings you back to power. It always brings you back to what is best for you and for all of humanity. So if you want to be healthier, your energy has to go first. And your energy right now is being dictated by what is really going on behind here. So you want to unplug your energy from these people and plug it within you. That's how you pivot from external validation to internal validation. These people that come last, they are the last thing that comes to mind. Yes, we're not being egocentric where we're like me, 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 me. No, there's a healthy balance of me, we, right? But you, for the best of everybody, you want to really pay attention to your soul, to listen to what needs to change within you so that you actually become the best version of yourself and start thriving. Because when you're thriving, that's when all of us benefits, right? Because when you walk and earn your embodiment, your higher embodiment, we learn more from you. That promotion comes naturally because your embodiment, your energy speaks for you. There's trying to please other people, because when you're trying to please other people, that's when you get manipulated by those predators. They're like, oh, this one would do anything to get this, so I'm gonna make her work. I'm gonna make her do my work for me. Oh, this one, she's always fawning. She's always like, she doesn't protect her boundaries, so I can get away with calling her this. I can get away with treating her like this. So you got to stop putting other people's needs above your own to the point where you're becoming resentful. There's a conscious way of putting other people's needs above your own, right? When we volunteer, when we help people who are disabled, right? When we're like, okay, I could have taken that route, but I'm going to help this person. When we pick something up, there's a conscious way of doing that where we are like truly giving. You're not doing it to perform or to be seen as a good person. You're doing it because it's the right thing to do. You're doing it because it gives you purpose to help other people, but not at the expense of your well-being. It doesn't help anybody, right? So if you want to make progress, a lot of progress, begin within, and pay attention to the patterns that have been happening, what you do not like, how you've been treated, especially if you've been over apologizing and like you've been doubting yourself. Pay attention to the internal dialogue that's creating a safe space for that, because every negative pattern has a safe space within you. What's going on? Keep retracing it back to the first time that coding happened, and notice what inner relationships are creating that. And we want to upgrade those inner. Yes, you can change what happened in the past, but your inner world, you take it wherever you go, no matter where you go, and that's what attracts all these experiences for you. So you want to create a solid foundation for your inner world. Yes, your parents, your caregivers, you can't change them. They change by themselves. They have autonomy, they have free will on what they choose to do with themselves. But you have autonomy on where you choose to position them within yourself to your benefit, right? As long as it's not going to create negative energy, and it's not going to disempower them, right? You want to be in integrity with soul, with the highest principles of creation, for this to actually work and not work against you. So you want to rearrange everything within you so that it aligns with the version of you really desire to be, your dream self. And this is where you start catching up with your dream self. And the embodiment is just second nature. You're not acting as if you're not being something you're not. You're not trying to perform your femininity, to perform your isness. You're just being, because you've rearranged everything within yourself. And this is something I help you in the academy, particularly Miracle Activator and Soul Driven Radiance. And you can find more information below. And if you want one-on-ones, I have a few spaces for what I call soul marriage activations, because this is what actually helps you to start creating from wholeness instead of creating from this unconscious place. So I hope this helps you. Let me know below what you got from this, and if you have any questions. Otherwise, see you on the other side.